Okay, this is how you repair a chip with the Wonderbar Crackmaster Bridge. Now, your tool is stored upside down with the cap on it. Makes it semi-automatic. When you're done with the repair, you can just take the tool, you wipe off your threads, put the cap on, then put it in your toolbox, and it's ready for your next repair. You don't have to break anything down, don't have to remove resin, don't spill resin, you don't have to refill. Okay, so now we're going to do this chip repair, and we're going to bring the resin to the bottom of the O-ring, and we're going to lower the injector so that the cylinder is flush with the bar, and the pressure bolt is lower than the stabilizing bolts. Okay, so now we're going to mount over the impact point after we bring the resin up to the O-ring. There we go. We already had Vaseline on the cups from the leftover repair. Okay, now I'm going to lower the cylinder over the impact point when I'm looking in the mirror. Okay, now as soon as I touch the glass with it, I'm level because of these leveling stabilizing bolts. Now you want to pull a vacuum. And then go into pressure. Now, as soon as you see that cylinder move, that O-ring move, you stop. Minimum piston pressure. Okay? And now you're going to put your pressure bolt to the glass. Now you can see the resin is starting to go into the brake. And this is a 100 CPS resin, which is unheard of in the windshield repair industry, of using resin this thick to fix stone brakes. But the Wonderbar tool, because it flexes the brake open so wide, you can use thicker resins, and thicker resins are more durable and can withstand stress. Okay, so now the bullseye is filled, the legs are starting to fill, so now I'm going to flex the legs open by turning the cylinder and the pressure bolt. This opens up the brake, just like it opens up the brake when you manually take a probe and flex a leg, and you'll watch the leg fill, and then when you let go, you'll see the resin scoot forward. This tool does that, this holding structure. Okay, so I'm going to increase the flex on the glass. Okay, the legs are starting to fill. I'm going to do another vacuum. The second vacuum doesn't really vacuum air out. What it does is it pulls on the resin that's already in the brake and creates a vacuum within there, so that when you go back down on pressure, it kind of sucks it in, which wicks the glass with the resin. So the second vacuum is more of a wicking process rather than vacuuming out air. Okay, so now we're going to go back down on pressure, and again, remember, as soon as you see that O-ring rise, you stop. And now we just wait for the resin to go into the legs. All of the legs are about halfway full. This will increase the flex on the legs, turning that. And then turning this. Increases the pressure on the resin, increases the flex on the legs. And again, we're using 100 CPS resin. Most other systems on the market have you using 18 CPS or 20 CPS, sometimes a 40, but Again, the thicker the resin, the better. Now, if you could zoom in on those legs, you see that leg right over there? You see how it's almost filled? And that one there, it's almost filled. Okay, now watch what happens. Just like when you're flexing it manually, this is what's going to happen when I lower the flex on the glass. Watch the tip. There. Now you see the resin scooted forward by the tool flexing the leg. Now I will normally do this twice. You can see it's 99% full, those legs, because the resin scooted forward when I released the flex from the Wonderbar bridge. Now a bridge gives you leverage and mechanical advantage to do this without putting tension on the glass. Now if you have a center suction cup and it's stiff in the middle, this won't work, because as you increase the pressure on your cylinder, the stiff cup starts pulling up on the glass, and a stiff cup puts the glass in tension, and tension is doing the opposite of flexing. It's going to close the legs and close the brake. Okay, so now these legs are completely filled, and we didn't do any messing around with piston pressure. So now I'm going to go down again, increase the resin pressure and the flex on the glass a second time, and I'll make sure all them legs are filled. Once I raise it up, just like when you flex again, you want to raise it up until you kind of see the legs again. Okay, and then you wait. Okay, can you see those legs there? See, now those legs are completely filled, and the tool has got the glass in the maximum flex, maximum opening. So what's going to happen now when I lower this again is the resin is going to push to the extreme tips and perimeter of the bullseye and the extreme tip of the legs. Just like when you manually flex a leg with a probe or a screwdriver, when you let go, you see that resin scoot forward. That's what's happening as I'm doing this. This is the only tool in the world where the actual structure is doing the repair rather than the piston. But you do have the option to use the piston, but this is a better way to do it. And you can get heavier resin in there. Okay, so now I'm level with my stabilizing bolts now, and you can see my pressure bolt is backed off, my tool is level, and my resin is in the pressure mode, and now I cure under pressure. Now when it comes to curing, a slow cure is better than a fast cure. With a slow cure, all of your monomers in there will have time to link up onto the glass and link to each other to form a polymer chain. When you cure too fast, you get shrinkage, and then some of those monomers get stranded, and then you can get breaks in your polymer chain. Now, what is a slow cure? A slow cure is 2 minutes with a weaker UV source. Best source is sunlight, because it's got a consistent, even intensity. Like they say, you know, God makes everything great, and man can't even compare with that. So your best cure is the sunlight when it's available, and that'll be 2 to 3 minutes. And if not, the second best is a bulb, a 365 nanometer fluorescent bulb. LEDs will have hot spots, especially if you use them on a long crack, and the hot spots will cause all of the monomers and polymers in there to link up real quick, and then in between the bulbs you'll have breaks in your polymer chain. So that's why we don't use LEDs to cure long cracks. Okay, so once we have cured this for 2 minutes, we're going to pop off the tool. The other nice thing about using 100 CPS resin is you can also use it to pit fill with. Now when you pop off this tool, you put it in the vacuum so that your resin doesn't spill out. And you'll see when you pop it off, it leaves a drop of resin there for you. And now you can use that for your pit filler. Now you put the light on there. Don't want the lens on there, and then you cure the pit for 1 to 2 minutes.